I want to have some fun today. I want to make fun of myself and look back at the past. I want to play a clip. This is what I said right after the Bengals drafted their quarterback, Joe Burrow. With the number 1 overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals drafted Joe Burrow, the quarterback out of LSU. This was absolutely the right pick. He's an incredible quarterback. Literally, he had the best season ever by a college quarterback of all time. And I know this is a shocker. People are going to go, oh, what? But his film, Joe Burrow's film, was better than Andrew Luck's film when I watched it. I just went, this guy's incredibly accurate. His work ethic is unreal. He mastered everything he could control, which I love. Joe Burrow said, my footwork, my accuracy, everything I can control, my preparation, I'm going to master that and do the best I possibly can. And he was the most accurate quarterback I have ever seen on film. Now, some people criticize Joe Burrow as a one-hit wonder because in 2018, I admit he was an average quarterback, and in 2019, last year, 2 years ago average, last year in 2019, got way better, just massively, massively improved. But he also owns it. He says, look, he said in an interview last night, Joe Burrow literally said, I wasn't great in 2018. I worked my butt off. I got better. And he improved. I don't know what to tell people who keep saying, he's a one-hit wonder. I don't know what to tell you other than the guy got better. Watch the film. He's a different quarterback. He's a much better quarterback. I've never seen a quarterback improve the way that Joe Burrow did last year in 2019. And then in all the big moments, in all those big games, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, the entire college football playoff, he rose to the occasion. He played better. He was great. Now, here's the question, though. Will the Bengals actually build around Joe Burrow? But I think Joe Burrow's going to have a rough rookie year. But I want you to be patient. I want him to be patient because Joe Burrow's going to get a year of film from his rookie year and go, okay, I have a year of film to watch and learn from. And now going into 2021, 2 years from now, he can go, we need to change this and this and this and this and this. Joe Burrow might need a year to learn. Similar to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's rookie year, he went like 3-13. I believe he set the rookie record for interceptions in a season. He was like ridiculously bad. But Peyton Manning, the next year, played much better because he looked at the film and he learned from it. The same could be true for Joe Burrow. If he has a bad year next year, don't panic. It's okay. So I was not confident that Joe Burrow could turn around the Bengals. I knew he would be an amazing quarterback. I've said it before. Two of the craziest transformations I have ever seen. One was Chris Pratt going from, let's be honest, the fat guy on Parks and Rec, and then transitioning to this massive movie star who's like just on top of the world. A lot of people that are like the comedy guy in a TV show, they don't go anywhere and they never have a career, let alone become Chris Pratt, the massive movie star. Now, the other massive transformation I remember seeing was Joe Burrow at LSU. After 2018, that year, Joe Burrow was fine. His first year at LSU, he was not amazing. And remember, he's also the guy who nobody wanted him. He literally had to transfer out of Ohio State to even get on the field. Year one goes by at LSU. Solid, not amazing. Going to be like a 6th-round pick, something like that, maybe undrafted. And in his second year, he got way, way, way better. Took a massive step forward, did a ton of work in the offseason. And never forget that the run Joe Burrow was on, he's in his first ever Super Bowl now in year 2 with the Bengals. He started this journey in college. He turned around LSU, he won a national title, and he played his very best in the biggest moments. On the road at Texas, at Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, the college football playoff. As Joe Burrow approaches his first ever Super Bowl, I have no doubt, win or lose, he's going to have a great game and show up for the moment and play his very best football. That is what he's done ever since I can remember about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow plays his best in big moments. And it's funny, I told people to be patient. I knew that year one would be rough. And, Cincinnati went 4-11-1 that first year with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow got badly hurt, shredded his knee. But I did say he could build off of year one, and 2021 could be better. Now, honestly, I had no idea. I totally accidentally got that very right. I just had no idea how true that was going to be. I never would have thought the Bengals would be playing in the Super Bowl this year. I never saw that coming. Now, let's go even further back. Before Joe Burrow was drafted, I'm going to play another clip. It is cringy for even me to listen to. I go, Zach, what were you saying? I'm going to play another clip. Take a listen. So the Bengals have the number 1 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. And it's assumed, in fact, it's been reported by some people that they are going to draft Joe Burrow, the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback out of LSU. It's likely that the Bengals are going to draft a quarterback number 1 overall who won a Heisman Trophy. They've done the exact same thing before. In the 2003 NFL Draft, the Bengals chose Heisman winning quarterback out of USC, Carson Palmer. And it's really interesting to hear Carson Palmer talk about Joe Burrow. He calls Joe Burrow a spectacular talent. He gives him high praise. It's very clear Carson Palmer likes and believes in Joe Burrow. In fact, guess who Joe Burrow's coach is, his throwing coach in the offseason? Yes, Joe Burrow is working with Carson Palmer's brother, Jordan Palmer. Interesting, right? Oh, and Jordan Palmer, guess where he used to play? Jordan Palmer used to be Carson's backup in Cincinnati with the Bengals. But when you hear Carson Palmer talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, it feels almost like he's warning Joe Burrow not to go there. And Carson Palmer talks about how coming out of college and entering the NFL, he thought he could change the Bengals. He thought he could save the organization. But he didn't understand the NFL. He believed that the most important part of the team was the people on the field. And the reality that he learned is that actually the most important part of a football team is the organization that picks the players to go onto the field. There's a reason that the Bengals are drafting number 1 overall. They're a bad organization. Carson Palmer never made it work in Cincinnati. He was really, really good, and they never won a playoff game. It reminded me a lot of Matthew Stafford with the Lions, where I just really thought that the Bengals organization would hold back Joe Burrow. Ownership really matters. If you don't have good ownership, you can't win in the NFL. At least it makes it way, way harder. And that leads me to my next clip. Take a listen. The Bengals are planning to draft Joe Burrow number 1 overall. He's the new star hero of the franchise. They can sell a lot of jerseys. They can give fans hope. And fans in Cincinnati, I'll be there this fall, they'll be like, ooh, things are changing. Things are turning around for the Cincinnati Bengals. They're not changing. Things are not going to change in Cincinnati. The owner is still Mike Brown. Mike Brown is still the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, and as long as he is, things are not going to change. Carson Palmer never won a playoff game until he left Cincinnati. But Joe Burrow, in my opinion, Joe Burrow needs to reject the Bengals and do it hard. He needs to be harsh. He needs to say, I don't want to play for the Cincinnati Bengals. They have bad ownership. I will not play for Mike Brown. You can draft me. I won't play. Joe Burrow has worked too hard. He's too talented to waste years of his career in Cincinnati. He might have a little bit of success in Cincinnati. Maybe at some point, Joe Burrow wins a playoff game with the Bengals, and that'd be awesome. Pull an Eli Manning, refuse to go there. That's what I think is best for Joe Burrow and his family. Go to a better organization, have a better life, win football games, and achieve good things, great things. Don't go to Cincinnati and underachieve. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious to listen to that. It really is. I said don't go to Cincinnati and underachieve. All Joe Burrow has done since he got to Cincinnati is overachieve. I said maybe someday he can win a playoff game, like one playoff game. He won 3. He won 3 this year. And now he's going to a Super Bowl in year 2. And really the big thing that happened with the Bengals organization, and what really took place is that Mike Brown, the Bengals owner, has gotten older. And as that has happened, he's given more and more control to his daughter, Katie Blackburn. She's got a dope last name, by the way. She married a guy named Troy Blackburn, but she is Mike Brown's daughter, despite not the same last name. Katie Blackburn and Duke Tobin are basically running the Bengals organization. And they've done a great job building around Joe Burrow, something I was very concerned would not happen in Cincinnati. They brought in, for example, the defensive line. They brought in Trey Hendrickson. They brought in DJ Reader. They traded for BJ Hill. A really great, quiet trade with the Giants to get BJ Hill. They gave Sam Hubbard a big contract. I was really, really critical of the Bengals for being cheap during the Carson Palmer era. I'm like, look, it didn't work with Andy Dalton. It didn't work with Carson Palmer. They didn't even spend money when Carson Palmer really needed it to win more playoff games and go farther. However, they've actually done a really good job building their team here in the Joe Burrow era. And the only thing left that the Bengals really need, in my opinion, is a better offensive line. And that leads me to my final clip. This is what I said when the Bengals drafted their stud wide receiver, Jamar Chase, number 5 overall in the 2021 NFL Draft. I'm going to be really, really harsh on this one. The Cincinnati Bengals did not draft an offensive tackle, an offensive lineman. They drafted wide receiver Jamar Chase from LSU. And Jamar Chase, another guy. Like, it's weird to knock this pick because he's incredibly talented. Like, he's a great football player. He played with Joe Burrow at LSU. Like, he's gonna be awesome. Like, frankly, like watching, it's gonna be a high-powered, exciting offense in Cincinnati. Here's the problem: your starting quarterback Joe Burrow got hurt last year with a season-ending injury. Got hit a ton. You need to get him help on the offensive line. I just don't understand. Like, yeah, wide receiver, they're great, but if Joe Burrow's on his back, it doesn't matter how many great wide receivers you have. So this is the pick I hated the most in the draft. I could not believe that the Cincinnati Bengals did not draft an offensive tackle. They should have picked Penei Sewell out of Oregon. Literally, it's very possible he's a Hall of Fame left tackle. And I just, what about the offensive line? I could not believe that the Bengals did not draft Penei Sewell, the offensive tackle out of Oregon. I hated this move. Which is weird to say again. They got a great player, but they got a player who doesn't protect the quarterback. So I just think it's a weird move that I really didn't like. Jamar Chase is going to make a ton of plays in Cincinnati. Like, he's a stud. He's a great player. And watching Jamar Chase paired up with T. Higgins, it's going to be fun. Like, I have no doubt Jamar Chase is going to score touchdowns, make a lot of big plays. He's going to be a blast to watch in Cincinnati. This will not be an awful pick like when the Bengals drafted John Ross, number 9 overall in the draft a couple years ago, and he was like a total bust. This is not that kind of pick. This is a good player who I feel good about. I cannot say this enough. You have to protect your young quarterback. It's very important to get your young quarterback protection, especially Joe Burrow, guy who got hurt last year. Jamar Chase was really good, but passing on Penei Sewell was a terrible, terrible mistake. That's my fear for the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll see if I'm right. Like, I'll revisit this. We'll see in like 3 years who was right. And I'm not saying Jamar Chase is a bad pick because he's a great player, but I would have picked Penei Sewell. And I'm really curious to follow the storyline as it develops over this season and over the next couple of years. I think Bengals fans have slightly unrealistic expectations, thinking their team is a playoff team. They're going to do all this stuff. I'm like, wow, let's slow down. You're just trying to get through a year without your quarterback getting hurt, in my opinion. I think, frankly, like, they got better. They added a new receiver, Jamar Chase. I don't know how much of an impact that really makes. I would like to see the Bengals doing fantastic. It'd be awesome if they were 8-0 to start the year. I just don't think that's a realistic expectation for the Cincinnati Bengals. I was very, very critical of this move. I did not like it. I knew Jamar Chase would be a star player, but I did not think he would lead to Cincinnati winning more games. And I was really, really worried about the Bengals' offensive line. In fact, I still actually kind of am. Like, going into the Super Bowl, I'm like, just please, Joe Burrow, do not die. That's all I'm asking for. Joe Burrow gets hit a ton. And I certainly did not expect anything like what happened in the Tennessee Titans playoff game where Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times and still found a way to win. Like, that doesn't happen. You don't win football games when that happens to you. And I would actually say the Bengals are kind of getting away with one right now, where in year 1, Joe Burrow got hurt, destroyed his knee, and it's hard to not blame the offensive line. And the thing I just did not account for is that Joey B is just a wizard at surviving in the pocket. He avoids sacks like crazy. There's a play against the Kansas City Chiefs where, Chris Jones has him dead to rights, not once, but twice on the same play, and he avoids a sack. He ducks under it, then avoids a sack with like an ankle bite. And he does that all the time. He avoids sacks like crazy. Like, you just are like, he's not Russell Wilson. Like, he's not as fast, doesn't have a crazy amount of top end speed, but he's just like a little slippery. You can't get a hold on Joe Burrow. He's hard to sack. He's also incredible in a messy pocket. He is one of the best quarterbacks I have ever seen with bodies around him. When there's people around his legs or hitting everything, I could not have fathomed how good he would be at hanging in the pocket and getting hit a lot, but still stepping into throws and delivering the ball on time. It's crazy. And then on top of that, all those things, avoiding sacks, he's good in a messy pocket. He's also, I think, elite pre-snap. Like, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL before the ball is snapped, at recognizing a coverage, recognizing, hey, how do I need to shift my protection? Are they blitzing me? And that's why he's so good at a blitz. Joe Burrow, when you blitz him, he doesn't cringe. He doesn't go, oh no, what do I do? He doesn't try to run away. He goes, all right, baby, let's go. He loves it. Because what it does is it actually in a weird way simplifies the game for Joe Burrow, because if you're taking a bunch of people out of coverage, it gives him one-on-one matchups, and he just goes, where's my best matchup? I'm going to get the ball to hands very quickly, and he'll shred you. And that the stats show that. Like, he just destroys people when you try to blitz him, and that's because he's really good pre-snap at recognizing coverages and where pressure's coming from. Now, I already made a video about how, about just the monumental amount of how wrong I was about the Bengals this year. Remember, I predicted the Bengals would go 4-13, which I very quickly, they were 3-1 to start the year, and I literally made a video. I was like, nope, already got this one dead wrong. Like, they are not at all as bad as I thought they would be. And it's funny, there's a clip where I said that the fans in Cincinnati had unrealistic expectations by talking about a playoff run during the preseason. This is not only a playoff run, this is a Super Bowl run. They're in the Super Bowl, playing the Rams 2 weeks from now. Like that, or I guess next Sunday. That's unbelievable to me. And I'm so glad I was wrong. And the one thing that I want people to know is that despite all the times I was not sure it would work in Cincinnati, or I was like, I don't know, the ownership there is bad, or I don't know, the offensive line is bad. I want people to understand one thing about Cincinnati. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. I've got this weird love. I think most people that aren't from Cincinnati probably would tell you it's terrible. In fact, there's a show where they joke about how, like, Cincinnati's like hell. And I'm like, no. Cincinnati's, I love it. The people there care about sports. It's clean. It's beautiful. Great breweries. I can't wait to spend time there in the future. As a child, my dad would make spaghetti, chili, and cheese as kind of a riff on Skyline Chili. Skyline Chili is my favorite food. It's my favorite comfort food when I'm like having a bad night or just need some really good comfort food. And so I'm so happy that these two things have really collided. Joe Burrow, this quarterback who I'm really inspired by, his work ethic, his moxie, his confidence, his attitude. It's a quarterback I love in a city I love. And so maybe what I'm going to say here is, Cincinnati, can you forgive me? I was skeptical. I didn't think it was going to work. I really, not that Joe Burrow wouldn't be great, not that Jamar Chase wouldn't be great. I assumed things were still the way they were when Carson Palmer was the quarterback there. The ownership structure is different. And also, Joe Burrow's better than Carson Palmer was. He's just elevating his teammates more than Carson Palmer ever did. And I just love seeing what's going on. It's a quarterback I love, a city I love. It's this great combination. And I'm so happy to have been wrong about Joe Burrow. It certainly is really kind of cringy to look back at the stuff I said. But in all of that, I hope it's understood that there's a lot of love for the city. And it's a place oh my gosh, I miss it, man. I really love the city of Cincinnati, and I'm happy that Joe Burrow is just making me look monumentally wrong. It's a joy to watch, and I don't know that they're going to win a Super Bowl. I am crossing every finger and every, my toes, everything. I want them to win so badly. I don't know they will, but I want you to know I am rooting for Cincinnati hardcore in the Super Bowl, and they got a shot. So I don't know. I really wanted to look back and I just think it's fun to kind of clown on myself and look back at all the times I was wrong or the things I said. And Joe Burrow, man, it's just proven me wrong over and over and over again, and I love that.